Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana, the hostess with the mostest. Let's get into this. So, it's time for us to get back to the periodic table until we get more downloads, right? We left off, well, we're still doing transition metals, okay? So we are on manganese, atomic number or atomic weight of 25, not to be confused with magnesium, okay? Two different elements, two different periods, two different groups. Magnesium is an alkaline earth metal, okay? Manganese is a transition metal, okay? Not sure if you've been following. These are literally things you can Google, look up on your own, right? We're just trying to find the connection between our physical selves, our spiritual selves in this chart, right? How do they help us in the physical and in the spiritual, okay? Now, I know that this topic was due a long time ago, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. Manganese is, like I said, number 25, or atomic number or weight of 25. It's the fifth most abundant mineral in the Earth's crust, okay? Now, this is another one of those trace minerals, and we have a few, right? Any of these minerals or elements that are not produced naturally in the body are pretty much considered to be trace minerals, right? It doesn't mean that they're synthetic. It just means that our body only needs traces of it, okay? And they're important because they're still connected to vital bodily functions like your metabolism, tissue repair, growth, cell growth, and development, okay? It's when you look at this mineral from the physical point, right? It's not that rare, right? It's the fifth most abundant metal in the earth crust, but the 12th most abundant element. Okay, so it's not like a rare thing, right? But it's still important. It's connected to the iron in our food was used to make our energy. It has a boiling point of 3,742. And at that point, that's when it turns into gas. It reacts with strong acids. And it is also used as a catalyst and an alloy. Okay? Now, I started doing a little research. You know how we do. Manganese is not one of those things that's just found abundantly in the atmosphere, but it is found abundantly in our water, in sediments, and, things like that. It's in traces, right? Those are normally where the traces are found. Fused with vitamin K, not to be confused with potassium, right? To absorb, amplify, balance, store, and retrieve, okay, energy. So I got to looking, you know how we do over here. We start making the connection between these minerals and the spiritual world. Now, this is not one of those elements just like found, freely in the earth or in the galaxy. It is, however, one of those elements that assists with creativity. It's connected to the root chakra. It supports grounding, balance, and strength. It enhances your energy, and it also is connected to uplifting and grounding yourself as far as within your spirit, and as well as grounding with Mother Gaia or the earth, right? Now, this is where it started getting interesting because it is one of those trace elements. I thought it was interesting that it is responsible for so much, and it's really similar as far as the name, right? When you look at the name of the element, it is really similar to magnesium, right? They really, really look the same. So I started thinking, like, really, how can we find this, right? So it's in brown rice, it's in legumes, oatmeal, black pepper, tea, spinach, pecans, and hazelnut. Okay? Now, when you start paying attention to the different things or responsibilities or connections that it does have to the body, it's really strange that these things can be toxic if consumed in large amounts. It reacts with strong acids, right? Hydrochloric sulfuric acid. And again, I think it's really interesting that our body doesn't naturally make this, but our body relies on it and needs it to function properly. And it's all over, like, the rocks in the water, but it's not in the atmosphere itself, okay? The most interesting thing that I've really found, well, to me, what I thought was interesting, is that it's connected to the root chakra. Now, we know, right, if we've been studying, that the root chakra, I mean, other than your crown and your sacral, the root chakra is pretty much responsible for holding down the fort within all of your other chakras. So this is probably one of those elements that you might want to keep around you if you've had issues with molestation, if you had any issues with letting go of childhood traumas that you feel are connected to you in any kind of way that is correlated to reproducing. Okay, so your ovaries, your uterus, your V area, your breast. Even if you want to get like a little small stone and place it on those areas on your body, or if you want to get a hat or like a head wrap, anything that will allow you to hold it still on top of your head, that will kind of help you like protect your crown or just bring a little bit of, balance to your crown, to your thinking, to your overall. Because remember, there's 114 chakras. We went over that, but the main focal point or the entry points are the 7 points, right? And you want to make sure that if you're not grounded, you want to try to do whatever it is that you can. So if that means eating a balanced diet, working out, staying away from things that trigger you because you're not healed yet, or you're just not in a space to deal with things in a proper manner. If you're in toxic environments, I'm in a toxic environment and I'm still trying to heal, right? And I don't have the space to particularly store all of my crystals and charge them and cleanse them properly. So trying to maintain a balanced diet, exercising, staying hydrated are like the 3 main things that will help me, right? Some people they can sleep it off, right? So wherever you are in your spirituality is going to make a difference in how much you're going to be able to take. And of course, this comes with time, right? You don't want to make things harder than they already are or harder than they have to be because you're being disobedient. You want to make sure you are following protocol, okay? Now, back to the element, manganese, okay? When you start to look at where we can find these, different elements, I think it's really important to pay attention to the actual location. Not like if it's in water, the geographic location, like where are these elements or these minerals most abundant? It'll tell us a story. Okay? And then I'm looking now because we know we like to make the correlation with the galaxy, the physical Earth, and the galaxy within, right? This is one of those things that come from really small stars, right? Manganese is not like the other, like hydrogen or helium or even calcium, right? Because we have a lot of calcium-filled stars. And of course, we know that a lot of these things come from the results of the supernovae. In this case, manganese is found on small stars. I mean, stars that are smaller than Earth. Okay? All of the stars that explode, there's like a concoction of chemicals, right? That's what the supernovae is. And most of these elements are byproducts. So I think it's important for people to pay attention to that. We only have these minerals and elements in our atmosphere as a result of a star dying. So ask yourself, if this star did not die, would I even have this particular element in my midst? How important is this element if I only have it in traces? Although it is only in traces, it is responsible for so many different important functions on my physical body. That's important, okay? And those are just questions that I would ask. You have your own mind, your own brain. You could literally come up with your own things to wonder. I'm just throwing that out there because we tend to take these things for granted, not realizing how important they really, really are. They're detrimental to our overall being. And if we don't have them, we would probably even look different. We would metabolize our food differently. We would think differently. I mean, the color of our skin will probably still be of a darker hue. Who knows? Our body probably would no longer need to oxidate itself, or maybe we would still have gold in our blood. Maybe the gold would not have broken down to iron at this point because of the atmosphere, right? Things change. Again, these are just questions that I would ask. As we start to phase through the periodic table, I think it's important for us to really pay attention to the groups that these elements belong to. So remember, if manganese is a transition metal, and all of these things are transition metals, then we know that they are assisting in some transition from one state to another. It is your business to find out what those transitions are. Like, what is its natural state, and what are the alternate states that it can transition into? What states of transition do these transition metals absolutely avoid at all costs? Of course, melting points and environments turning, the condition, all of those things are here nor there, right? But the overall compass, and gist of this conversation is to learn about the elements, to learn about how they can help our bodies now. What is a limit for us? Like, how much of this do we actually need, and can we do without? And how can we use them for when shit hits the fan? How can we use them for warfare, right? That's just the overall premise of studying the periodic table. These are ways for us to connect with the galaxy, right? With the creator, with one another, and ourselves. But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I do love y'all. If nothing comes up, we will just stay on the periodic table. Y'all know how it is. But I do love y'all. I hope y'all been drinking y'all water, eating y'all fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it's free. All right. Love y'all. Peace.